From the gridiron to the diamond, this is more than X's and O's. This is your best Florida sports podcast with CBS 12 News sports director John Evenson, producer extraordinaire Sam Sullivan, and Max Shepman with the lighter side of sports.
Well, we're back in a familiar background here.
Still a banger, that song.
It is.
Still a banger.
It is, but it feels more at home to be.
We had one time. They let us outside one time.
That's
and
right.
They were like, you know what? No more.
And you were on a cruise 2 weeks ago, so you've been basking in the sun for weeks.
I actually taped an episode from the cruise, but it must have gotten lost somewhere in the deep waters.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi wasn't working too well on that.
Yeah, I didn't buy the Wi-Fi package, so that accounts
That's because
for
that
it.
money went to the alcohol package.
Yeah, it did not. So yeah, episode 25. We're kind of all over the place for this one. We're covering hockey, golf, football, Lions, Tigers, pigs.
What's 25?
Pigs, bears, oh my.
Isn't 25 a special?
Isn't like that the silver, like the silver?
Is this the silver episode, 25?
It's like a silver slugger.
Silver anniversary?
Something.
I'll look it up while you continue to introduce
I'm
the show.
unfamiliar.
Go ahead, Sam.
So yeah, we're gonna kick things off with the hottest team in South Florida sports, which is not hard to compete with. None other than your Florida Panthers. So how many
Honestly,
times?
I'm not going to lie. That was kind of an impressive little growl.
I was
you
going to
just
say,
did there,
how many
dude.
times have you heard that to be able to master it the way you just
Well,
did?
I mean, they score non-stop goals.
It does help.
I've been to 2 straight Stanley Cup runs in a row.
Yeah. And it's let's make it clear for those who have not been to a Panthers game. When they score, they don't just do that cat sound once. It's like 4 times.
Oh, for the
after they
people who score the assists. Assisted by Alexander Barkov.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's great. It's
Can
my
you
favorite.
imagine like sitting during a Stanley Cup final run next to this guy in the press box?
Dude, you had to. What do you mean imagine?
No, I'm just saying from
For
Sam's
our audience.
perspective.
Yeah,
for
for
our
me.
audience.
Yeah, for me too.
Yeah, imagine just sitting next to this guy. He's doing the Panther growl all the time. Like Panthers PR's looking over, like, ugh.
Well,
Why do you let this guy in?
they provide us those sweets and everything, so it gets my sugar going.
They
even
do have
further.
a very good Stanley Cup final spread.
Yeah.
Oh, it gets so much.
So not like hot dogs and burgers. It's like
It's that, but it's also like they'll give you a whole bowl of like peanut M&Ms. And
Okay.
you know,
You get a
like,
real sugar high
is-
at
yeah,
these games.
nerds. You know
Before-
that candy nerds.
Before we get into Panthers, is that your favorite M&M peanut?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I
Okay.
used to
That's basic,
when my
dude.
metabolism was a little bit better than it is at this ripe old age of 50. I used to for a movie theater, I used to get like that big old bag of the yellow bag of M&M peanuts.
Yep.
And just
That's
eat it like it was
basic.
popcorn, like the
basic.
whole
All right. So
bag.
then, what's yours,
Basic.
Max? What's yours?
I gotta go peanut butter M&Ms.
Oh,
Peanut
that-
butter?
I love
yeah.
peanut butter
Okay,
M&Ms.
okay.
Absolutely.
I think I'd have to go pretzel.
That's new school.
No. That
Nah,
came,
they've had that
came
for a
out
little
probably
bit.
like a decade ago.
Yeah,
Really?
they've had it for a little bit.
Oh, wow.
The blue bag.
All right. I like the M&M store though, like with all the different. You can get all purple ones or like whatever.
Oh yeah, like you take it into the little like the store, and it's like you literally pull the little lever out, and it's like
Yes.
if you don't push it back, like it's nonstop. Like it's the avalanche of M&Ms. The next thing you know, they're all on the damn floor.
I can just see Max pulling the thing and like the entire like M&M supply from the roof all down onto
Yep.
the floor.
Next thing you know, like a $4.99 bag of M&Ms turns out to be like $5,000.
Yeah.
Well, if you go on a road trip to watch the Panthers in New York City, Madison Square Garden is the one amazing thing, but going to the M&M store in Times Square is the other. And it's going to be, and I say the Rangers because I know that you grew up watching the Rangers. When you look at this Panthers team, you saw them play against your Rangers and beat the living boop out of them in the playoffs last year.
Thank God I didn't have to do that
Yes.
myself.
Could this be a better Panthers team by the end of the trade deadline?
I'm going to be honest. I think even before the deadline, they already are a better team. Minus, obviously,
Kachuk. being injured.
Yeah, minus his injury, I think as a whole, this is a better team.
So we know this week, it was last week, of course, Bill Zito got a head start on the trade deadline because this guy's always thinking, he's always wheeling and dealing. This was a Bill Zito special. Trading for Seth Jones from the Chicago Blackhawks. He was just rotting there. A really talented defenseman, a right shot, two-way player. And he pulls the trigger, trades away Spencer Knight. Do you know the details of this trade?
Yeah, it included Spencer Knight and a first rounder to Chicago for Seth Jones and a fourth rounder.
All defensive concerns are solved right there. What was, I think, just over a week before the trade deadline, Bill Zito solves it. Today, he picked up a goal. You were on there. He picked up a goalie today.
Vanacek, yep.
On Wednesday.
Right, we are taping this Wednesday, so, if you listen to this Thursday, Friday, and there's other moves, we apologize, but, schedule dictates.
Yes.
So, yes, obviously with the Spencer Knight deal going to Chicago, Billy Zito was like, we got to make sure we get a veteran depth goaltender just in case, for whatever godforsaken reason, Bob goes down for the playoffs.
Right.
So, obviously address that goalie concern before the end of the deadline, which I thought was key because I don't really know if Drieger was really the answer you wanted to go into the playoffs with. Mm-hmm. So, and I will say...
So who'd we give up for the San Jose goalie?
We gave up, I believe, a prospect, Patrick Giles. Not really highly touted, so it's not like you're really giving up too much. A few years away from playing in the AHL, like a lot of the prospects. So, I will say, shout out to Billy Zito because a lot of the franchises, being a Penguins fan myself, if your window's open, man, you got to go for it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So whatever prospects you got to give away, whatever draft picks you got to give away,
all that is pretty much out the window.
There is only so much you want to do to keep this window open, and if it's trading the bare cupboard of assets that you have to try to stay continually in the Stanley Cup final run, you absolutely got to do it. So I applaud Bill Zito to that.
So it's good. So Bill Zito, he's the king of grabbing players who are in really talented players in precarious positions.
Seth Jones was dying.
Yeah, he
in
just
Chicago.
dying on the vine, and then same thing with Tkachuk and Bennett when he got them from the Flames. You think of Sam Reinhart in Buffalo. That Buffalo team was horrible that Sam Reinhart was on. So he's really good at giving these teams the right offer and getting these ultra-talented playoff pieces, Stanley Cup pieces now that we know they've won the Cup over here. And Spencer Knight got a standing ovation. He was kind of a fan favorite in Florida. Can they still, during the national anthem, yell out Knight now?
I think that's
He's gone
dead.
now.
I think it's dead. It's dead,
It's
right?
gone.
Yeah,
It's dead.
they can't do Knight, and they did it even when he was not with the team and stuff, and he was.
Right.
But
the players'
he's officially gone.
assistance
So the
program,
Knight thing, that's sad. The Knight, they got to find a new thing to yell, a new word in the American national anthem to emphasize based on someone on their team.
I don't. What do you really go with? I don't really know of
We'll have to assess it.
I guess we'll have to literally go through the national anthem
Yeah.
and then the players
with a list of the roster.
right.
Yeah.
And I believe the Seth Jones connection, Bill Zito. I think Bill Zito was there in Columbus when Seth Jones was there.
And
Yeah,
he
you're
played
right.
with he played with Bob in Columbus as well.
That's right.
Correct.
Yeah, correct.
So
correct.
Billy Zito has a good feel of what Seth Jones is. For some people that don't know, I would probably put Seth Jones as an Aaron Ekblad, but with more offensive prowess, I guess to say.
Okay.
And you saw it right away in the first game against Tampa. He's playing on the top four pair. Played almost 23 minutes right off the bat, so obviously that shows you what kind of player that the Panthers are getting.
Yeah, I think he's been itching to play some meaningful hockey.
Some meaningful hockey for sure.
Yep. And he'll get and the fun fact, Seth Jones.
I love
you know
fun
who his
facts.
dad is? You know who his dad is?
Derek Jones.
No.
There's a lot of famous Jones.
His dad is Popeye Jones, the former NBA player. Popeye Jones. Look him up.
I'm going to do that right now.
I've already Googled 25th anniversary. It's silver. Okay, it is silver.
I
So now
told
you
you
guys Google Popeye Jones.
I got it. You continue the conversation.
All right, you can teach us about Popeye. He played. I know this. He played for the Toronto Raptors at one point. Popeye
So
Jones.
is that his nickname, Popeye, or his actual?
I don't think it's his birth name, Popeye Jones, but
All right, here we got.
he was a character player.
We got some stats for you.
All
Ready?
right.
Yeah, Popeye Jones.
92 draft, second round, 41st overall pick by the Rockets. Played from the Mavericks from 93 to 96, the Raptors from 96 to 98, 98 to 99 with the Celtics. He was the 1992 NCAA rebounding leader.
There you go.
And he also won a NBA championship as an assistant coach with the Denver Nuggets.
So Seth Jones has some professional athleticism pedigree.
He averaged 7 points a game, 7.5 rebounds per game, 1.5 assists per game. So
Nice.
classic 6-man of the year stats right there.
There you go.
Seth's brother also plays in the NHL. So a very talented family. Welcome to South Florida, Seth Jones. And he's not a rental. That's the best part of it.
I was just gonna
the
say.
best
Right.
part. He's part of this core now.
Until what, like at least 2030, I believe.
He's got a long contract.
It's I believe it's until he's like 36, maybe 37. So yeah, they've got him locked up for a long time. And Spencer Knight would have been a restricted free agent in 2026. So you win that part of the trade, being able to keep him for an extended amount of time.
Well,
go ahead. You go.
I was just gonna say, and again, like the deadline's not till Friday, and I think one of the things that it's going to be tough now because I think Panthers only have 5.3 million left in cap space.
No, you are wrong there. You know
am
what's so
wrong.
great? Yeah, check this out.
Go ahead.
I talk about it with Bill Lindsay a little bit.
Huh?
Because of the unfortunate situation with Matthew Tkachuk. So he is now, they've announced pretty much he's going to be most likely out until the playoffs,
groin
right?
injury, yep.
So you'll remember, I don't know if you remember this, last year with Vegas, and I think it happened to the Stars a couple of years ago, one of their main players was injured for the remainder of the regular season.
No, that cap space frees up.
Yes!
No, and I just looked it up. They have with Vanacek, they now have $5.3 million to play with.
I had read 8.9 million.
No, that was before the Vanacek trade.
Oh, touche. Okay, so you're including the goalie
correct.
trade that
Vanacek makes about
Got
$3.5
you.
million
Okay.
cap hit.
Okay,
So
that was a good talk.
hey, listen, that's what we do these shows is for good debates, right? I think one of the things that Bill Zito is also trying to look for is maybe some forward depth on the bottom six lines. It's going to be a little bit tough trying to figure out because, a lot of the big names, the Braden Shens of the world, guys like that. There was maybe some talk about getting Yanni Gourde from Seattle. Obviously, he's off to Tampa. I think the tough thing with the Panthers, though, is we literally just talked about it, is like they don't really have any more big assets to give away. So, I mean, if you're going to be looking maybe if you're looking for like a Nola Chari of the world, I'm sure you could give away like that 4th-round pick you just acquired to get him maybe.
Well, last
or
year,
something like that, but yeah.
Remember the whole Tarasenko thing last year and Kyle Okposo from the Sabres? Those were cool, like grit, like just character pickups, like talented guys. Right. And Bill Lindsay touches on that a little bit later on. We spoke with the former star of the Panthers and the radio color commentator Bill Lindsay. He touches on that as well. It's going to be a little bit of a different look to the trade deadline for the Panthers this year, but there is still room to tweak here. And of course, the ultimate prize will be getting Matthew Tkachuk back for the playoffs. But that's going to be, he's going to be a little rusty at first, so that's a little bit of a concern for sure.
Well, and also they just I forgot to mention they just signed Jesse Puljujärvi to a 2-year deal, or a 2-way deal, excuse me. So
is that breaking news?
As of about 45 minutes ago.
Wow.
So, I think like
that's how long it took me to grab this coffee from the kitchen.
That's
so that was
breaking news. No, but that's some good depth.
Yep.
Pittsburgh signed him. They didn't really have any room for him anymore. So, that's a good veteran depth wing right there. And it's a 2-way deal, so it's only $775 at the NHL contract.
So Sam, I mean, you watch the Rangers a lot, and I know you can catch a Panthers game whenever you want. what impresses me the most about the Panthers is just watching them. They have this championship mentality. I think when I watch them play now, like that game against the Lightning the other night, was such a tight game, and it was so smart. Like you could tell they were just doing what they had to do and waiting for Tampa to make a mistake.
Yeah.
And then, some guy committed on, I forget who the defender was, committed on Barkov just a little too much, and he took full advantage and just scored this cool goal to make it 1-0. And it's just those type of things that I noticed. Like Tampa used to be like that. Like the Lightning used to sit back and wait for their opponent to make mistakes and then pounce on them.
Opportunistic.
Totally comfortable, being patient, and they know they've got the confidence. What do you see when you see the Panthers play as opposed to the Rangers, who are still working on things here a little bit?
Yeah, I think it, obviously goes into that experience of, reaching the Stanley Cup in back-to-back years. And it's that mixture of you never want to let a game come to you, because once you do that, then you're letting the opposing team dictate how everything plays out. But the way that you described it is exactly how they're doing it. They're waiting for them to make a mistake. So the Panthers are still dictating their own games, but they're playing in a style where once you screw up or overcommit or do something like that, then we're full throttle and we're gonna take advantage of whatever you do that's wrong. Mm-hmm. So that's what you see in the Panthers. You see it in Vegas. Teams like that who have at least reached, the Stanley Cup or conference finals and been there consistently over the past few years, they sort of play the game differently than your Chicago Blackhawks.
I will say, I think, again, they have played a lot of hockey these past 3 years.
Yes.
At some point, you have to figure the fatigue is going to set in, and that's when being opportunistic of a hockey team can really help you. Yeah. Instead of having to drive the offense all the time, you wait for somebody to make a mistake, like you just said. Next thing you know, it's a quick 2-on-1 in the back of the net. Panthers are up. So, I think, the way that Paul Maurice has this team set up, he can play all kinds of hockey. We can dictate the pace. We can go on the offense. We can be opportunistic. We can play the physical game. We can play the finesse game. And I think that's what has made this Panthers team successful, is just Paul Maurice knows how to adapt, and the Panthers can play any type of hockey that they want to. And when it comes to Stanley Cup playoff hockey, you need all assets to be all go to play whatever hockey you need to.
Yeah.
Love Paul Maurice. Love Bill Zito. He knows this win now window is still here. He's making his moves. Let's make a move right now to Bill Lindsay.
Oh, what a transition.
Former star of the Panthers, one of my favorite guys. Color commentator on the radio. I wish we could play his call when they won the Cup. That was the craziest call last year. But here's Bill Lindsay on the Panthers at the trade deadline.
Well, we are here with former Panthers star Bill Lindsay, current broadcaster. Bill, I think the happiest person I saw potentially at the Panthers Stanley Cup parade. I don't know if you remember seeing me. Everyone was having a good time with the beverages and everything, but you were just in your glory. I remember how happy you were. Do you get the vibe that the team might be headed towards a similar celebration at this point? It's hard to tell sometimes at this point of the season.
Yeah, there's the possibility. They're going to go for it. It's a lot of mileage, back-to-back Stanley Cups. You get the Stanley Cup championship. You have the heavy schedule, the Four Nations. Now Matthew Tkachuk is on LTIR. Hopefully he comes back for the playoffs. A lot of things have to go right to win that trophy. And they're put themselves in position. This is a year you want to win the Atlantic, avoid that 2-3 matchup, because the Leafs and Lightning are really good. The Lightning are better than last year, and who knows what the wild card teams are going to be. It looks like the Rangers actually got into a position as of last night. You got Detroit hanging around there. Ottawa, Columbus is a real surprise story. Even the Montreal Canadiens. So it's a battle, and Panthers are playing their best hockey at the right time of year, even without Tkachuk in the lineup. The big trade for Seth Jones, and they're not going to shy away from it. Whatever Bill Zito feels he can do to improve this team, he is going to go out and do it and make sure they have every possibility at their resources to repeat.
Yeah, I want to get into all that stuff. But first, I got to ask you, I know just your call alone was so exciting on the radio with Dougie.
I broke every decorum of broadcasting.
No, it was raw. It was your exact emotions. And as we move along here, we're months removed from that, like almost a full year coming up. How has that changed this organization, that glee, that pride that's still, like, I'm sure, inside you even to this day?
Yeah, it's nice to have it, being around right from the start. And you look at some of the teams that don't have Stanley Cups. You can look at the Toronto Maple Leafs. You got to go back into the 60s, original six for them, 67, 68 years. Buffalo Sabres have never had one. Vancouver Canucks, the lineage. Now we've been to 3 Stanley Cup finals and we've been back to back, and you are a Stanley Cup champion. That can be never be taken away. And it's in South Florida where I played for a lot of teams, but this is the team that I love, always hung around. I love the people in South Florida. They embraced me. Everything about it, I fell in love with. And the team is my heart and soul. Poured everything into it as a player, trying to do the same thing on the other side with broadcasting and giving back to the community. So when that Stanley Cup ended, that was just 30 years of the greatest, other than being a player, to experience that with such a wonderful group of guys on that ice that did everything in their power to bring that Stanley Cup championship to South Florida. Just made my heart fill with joy, and was really happy. Just my dad was around. He's since passed, but he was around. He was around to see the trophy, hold the trophy, and I could not ask for a better scripted ending for to go out like that with my dad and the ownership group and everything here in South Florida. It meant the world.
Oh, I just sent shivers up my spine for you to have that moment with your dad. I saw you guys in the media box taking in all those series. So my condolences to you, but I'm so
Yep,
happy you had that moment for sure.
absolutely. It was good. And it was a good year. He had to go at some time, but what a year for him to go out on. He loved the Panthers more than I did, I believe, at some points. Because when I was playing for the Montreal Canadiens or Calgary Flames, he say, "You see what the Panthers did a lot? I don't care, Dad. Listen, I'm playing for Montreal. I'm playing for Calgary. Aren't you rooting for my team?" He says, "Well, so." And then once I retired and came fully bought in, he watched every single game from the time I played, especially retired, broadcasting, listening. So a true, when you see your parents and they tie your skates from such a young age and mold you, and you have so many people help you, but to share that journey and finally put some icing on the cake is one of the greatest feelings you could ever have.
Absolutely beautiful. It was his son's favorite team was the Florida Panthers, so that's a good thing, right? So we've had a good news, bad news scenario leading up to the trade deadline here. Obviously, I want to talk about Matthew Tkachuk, but Seth Jones, Bill Zito pulling that off, a week or so before the trade deadline. That's vintage Bill Zito. He just solves any worries that we were having on defense. I would have to say, how do you like the way Seth Jones fits here? And he's not a rental. That's the best part.
Yeah, I'd love it. If you asked any team in the NHL, would they take 5 years of Seth Jones at $7 million a year? They'd probably sign that contract in a heartbeat, every single one of them. And that's with the retention of the salary by the Blackhawks, the 2.5 million. That's what we're paying Seth Jones. And Bill Zito, what he brings into the organization, he knows them from Columbus, from his time in Columbus. He knows them on a personal level. He knows what kind of human being he is, and can he fit into this locker room. And you're going to get the best Seth Jones in a winning environment. In Chicago, he had played the majority of his time down in the defensive end while trying to play offense, 27 minutes a night, do everything, and lose and lose and lose. That just takes a toll. And eventually he came out in the media and just said, we're still at day one, just before he got traded. He had enough, and Bill Zito reached out, got the deal done, and that's exactly what we were looking for, a big right-handed shot defenseman that can skate. And you're going to see Seth Jones come back into this winning environment, a chance to get into the playoffs. This is an elite defenseman, a 5-time All-Star that can bring it, and he's going to be insulated. He's not going to have to do everything, which is going to be nice, and it's going to give him more flexibility to roam on the offensive side of the puck. You got a really bargain deal. I firmly believe in bringing Seth Jones here to the Panthers.
Yeah, Zito said it. I mean, the time to win, the window is still open, and it's now. And it's a big blow losing Matthew Tkachuk, obviously, for the likely the rest of the regular season. But in a quirky little thing with the NHL, there's no salary cap in the playoffs, and we've seen Vegas and I think Dallas took advantage of this
And the
same
Tampa Bay
scenario.
Kucherov.
Yeah, now they've got like $9 million to play with or something. So, what do
Yeah.
you think Zito will do with that money?
Well,
There's got to be
the
more
money's
moves, right?
nice. Yeah, the money's nice. Now the question becomes what do you have left available to give up? I believe you only have one first round pick that you can offer in a trade, and that's back in 2027. So that's a couple years down the line. Mackie Samoskevich, you need young players on good entry level deals to help facilitate this thing along. I don't believe Mackey's going to be part of any trade conversation. He's one guy that maybe you'd look at, and then you'd have to dive deep into the roster. Do you want to move any of your top 9 forwards or valuable defensemen? Not at this point, not when you're on the verge of winning. So what do you do with that money? Maybe you look and go out to get a backup goaltender is one possibility. A third liner that could kind of play up and down your lineup that maybe cost you a third round pick or something in that category. Not a Tarasenko or a Alex Tuck or someone that's going to cost you pretty heavily at a big salary coming back. We just don't have the resources to go out and get a big name at a big contract. Even though the money would fit, I don't believe that we have enough resources to get back the other way. So I would look more in line and bringing one or two more than multiple players in on cheaper salaries that don't cost you as much.
All right. And obviously it goes without saying. I mean, it's not ideal losing Matthew Tkachuk. Maybe not the end of the world considering how deep this team is. And Paul Maurice is just such a great head coach to work this and Zito to try to work a positive out of this if there is one. But what are the Panthers? It sounds like a silly question, but what is the biggest blow here to Matthew Tkachuk being out for the rest of the regular season?
Yeah, the rotation through your top 9, you're going to ask players to step up, get more ice time. The power play, he means so much on that power play, and his energy. There's no one that, I mean, Sam Bennett does bring a lot of energy, but there's not many players. He's a unicorn, Matthew Tkachuk. The way that he gets in there, always chirping the front of the net. He's a presence on and off the ice, and he's got a personality. So that will be missed, but we got a lot of leaders in that locker room that can take control of that. They're getting dialed in defensively about as good as they've been all year. They've got the systems in play. Talked to Paul Maurice the other day, and he actually said, this is the first time I don't have to talk to my team about our defensive structure. I can actually talk to them about offense, which I've never done in the past. I said defense and then offense. You guys just take care of it. So he's actually said, okay, maybe we can try this offensively and different type of stuff. So that is a really good sign for this team. They'll be okay without Matthew Tkachuk. Other guys are going to have to step up, role players. Like the way this team is headed, it's going to be really good. They can win without Matthew Tkachuk, and once he gets back into that lineup, it's only going to help.
Yeah, last one. You alluded to it right there. I mean, this team just naturally now has those Stanley Cup qualities. I mean, you saw the other night, they just wait for their opponent to, they're so patient. And then, someone committed too much on Barkey, and then he just like rips this awesome goal. This team, do you watch them and you just see this certain quality that's impossible to get unless you've gone all the way? Do you see that? Do you sense that? It's
yeah, there's a swagger. There's a confidence once you go into there. That's kind of the difference in this team that's kind of changed, that they're able to step up in those big moments. You're not afraid when you play the hockey at the highest level, and you've done it in back-to-back seasons and you won that trophy. There's a belief in that dressing room that goes a long way, that in close games or whatever's going to happen, that it's going to break our way. And you have the feeling for the guy beside you that he is going to give 100%, and your fear of failure for the person beside you is so great. You're not afraid to let yourself down, but you go home at night and you play a bad game. You're like, oh man, like those guys were working so hard. Geez, I can't do that to my teammates. And that's when average teams become good and good teams become great. And that's where the Panthers are at because of that dressing room, Paul Maurice, and what they've done as an organization. There's a belief in there that everyone is going to go out on that ice and do exactly the job that they're told. And it's a hard job, jumping in hard forechecking style. Paul Maurice built this team throughout the regular season to play a way that leads to success in the postseason. And you're starting to see it come to fruition again here lately for the Panthers, 9-2 in the last 11 games. And it's all been done in those 9 games that they've won. They've given up 13 goals, which is pretty remarkable. So you can start to see that defensive structure and everything starting to just dial it in and crank it up right where you need it to be.
Man, and Seth Jones hasn't even gotten comfortable yet. That is really impressive. Well, thank you so much. I hope I will see you at another Stanley Cup parade. Well, I'll probably see you before then. But again, I don't know if you remember seeing me, but you were working the crowd, man. You were up on a block. And you were like getting everyone hyped up. So that was.
You got to live it up. You only get one chance at it.
Yeah,
maybe. Well, you might get 2, but I mean, but you know the one is there, and that's the first one. So you gotta make the most of it, John.
I can't wait for the next one. Thank you so much, Bill.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, it was good times. That parade was good times. Bill Lindsay was a happy man. Brandon Montour, I remember he ran into him. He had like 3 beers, triple fisting.
Yeah,
it's a good time. He's like, I didn't even know I had 3 beers.
Yeah, right. With the rain just nonstop.
The rain,
dude,
the
I was
mud.
oh my god, I was down there. Like it was funny. So
Lightning bolts. No one cared that they were hitting the.
A few friends and I were down there. We were lined up, and then the rain started coming. We ended up at this establishment. Like we had like the one table that was covered by rain, and like we were like, oh, I wonder if people are gonna like offer us money to like buy our table. They didn't do it, but I mean, that was a hell of a parade. We went out there regardless. It was raining. I mean, I was,
it was such
not many people get to see a Stanley Cup parade.
Oh,
yeah.
And just the most unique Stanley Cup parade ever, because it was right on the beach.
Yeah,
it was almost sticking it to the rest, sticking it to all the Canadian teams. Actually, this is a
speaking
good
of Canadian
teams. You have a soundbite.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Ron DeSantis did his classic State of the State, which is like Florida's State of the Union speech.
Yep.
Talking about people coming to travel from Florida. And, Florida's a wild place. So, Governor DeSantis had to make sure to let Canada have it a little bit.
2024 saw more than 142 million visitors come to the state of Florida. This includes 3.3 million visitors from Canada. That's not much of a boycott in my book. Maybe they wanted to get a glimpse of what a Stanley Cup winning hockey team actually looks like.
The only thing that stings about that is the way that the 4 nations ended up. I think had USA gotten the win, it would have just hit a little harder.
And also, like, just maybe, the Canadians are coming down for the sun and the beach.
Yeah.
The weather. I think all 3,000. What did he say? How many Canadians?
I think 3.3 million.
Every one of those, fun fact, every one of those 3.3 million
are a member of the Evenson family.
Came to my house.
Yeah.
That's how many guests I've had over the past year.
There you go.
Yeah, you're still living down there?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So, but
suck it, Maple Leafs.
Yeah. So wait, why are we even talking about this? I thought we were going to talk about TGL now.
Well, this is our perfect intro to do it right now.
We're still, yeah. It's so easy to continue talking hockey, but I don't know if Tiger Woods was at the Panthers parade, but he was too busy getting ready for the TGL season.
I'm sure he wanted his TGL parade.
TGL parade is going to be one?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Not for him.
Go from Palm Beach State College to like the Gardens Mall or something.
If Jupiter,
the Yard House at Gardens Mall.
That's still the best thing about TGL is the fact that it's New York, Boston, LA, Jupiter.
Yep.
Jupiter.
Yeah.
I love the fact that Jupiter is amongst the big cities.
I mean, there's people who probably don't even know what it is. People who probably don't even know. What's Jupiter?
That's fantastic.
Nah, they still think it's like, the planet? Like the planet Jupiter?
Yeah, right? They're out of this world.
So
Tigers' team was not out of this world. That was they were definitely, I think they get the vote for the most entertaining team.
By far.
There were so many moments where Tigers pretty much crying with how much he's laughing. Just what they've done as a team. I believe it was Tuesday night where one of his teammates celebrated way too early, and
he did the whole Jose Batista bat flip
he
thing.
Did the swaggy pea shimmer, dude. He turned around, doing a dance through the club in the air. Next thing you know,
And
thing
it
going
li-
off.
and it lips
Flipping
out.
out behind
Lips
him, and he
out.
doesn't see it.
Yeah.
And then Tiger just cried laughing. It was fantastic.
Who was that? Kevin Na?
No. It was Tom Kim. Wasn't
Oh,
it?
Tom Kim. Sorry,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, it was Tom Kim. And then earlier in the season, I think it was 2 weeks ago, Tiger's yelling at them like, "What's the distance on this thing?" And they're like,
Oh, the 99 yards?
199. And he's like, 99. And he grabs, and then they don't notice that he's got a pitching wedge. And they're like, "What is he doing?" You can hear them. They're all mic'd up like, what's he doing? And then he like hits it and it doesn't even make it like over the water or anything.
God.
And he's like, "I thought you said." So that was weird. That was the most embarrassing moment for him. And then there was, I forget who hit earlier this season, just like gorilla'd chip shot.
Yes.
And it would have like murdered someone in the crowd if it hadn't. The only thing that stopped it from a murder in the TGL crowd was it hit the flagpole.
Yes.
And fell so it was just things like that are really memorable from Tiger's team. But I will say the golfers have picked it up over the past few weeks. Like it was kind of.
It was almost like a feeling out process of like
Yeah,
how this is going to work.
It was boring at first. They weren't making their shots. And then over the past few weeks, there have been some really exciting putts, some big-time fist pumps, some awesome shots, chip shots. And they've all kind of figured out this indoor golf thing. It's been really entertaining. I think down the stretch,
Yes.
they've really sort of brought it all together. And I think people started noticing. The celebrities have been out there. I noticed non-golf fans talking about it. Celine Dion was there the other night. Oh, beautiful. Okay, that's where we end it. That's where it ends. That's where that ends.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen was there. Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold.
What? He was there.
Really?
He was there.
The next Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
funny. I just threw him at Sam Darnold.
Well, yeah, that's kind of confusing. Who's Jupiter playing again?
They're playing against.
But I think
Atlanta.
it was Josh Allen's bachelor.
It was his
trip.
bachelor party. Josh Allen's bachelor party.
Like
So-
Christian Kirk was out there, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
they
yeah,
got to play with the simulator after it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just so confusing. Sam Darnold, a part of that mix.
Was he
I don't
not there?
know.
Was Sam Darnold not there?
I don't know, dude.
I'm-
You were there,
yeah,
not
I'm
me.
not-
I'm not doubting
Yeah.
it. It's just not what you would expect.
Let's
I
check
don't think
John
they've
Evanson's Twitter page.
I don't think they've ever been teammates. I don't know.
I'll tell you who else was there. John Bon Jovi.
Yes.
He was there, right? And
Was he a part of Josh Allen's bachelor party? Or
He was. Yep. He was part of the bachelor party. So was Ninja. You know Ninja?
Yes.
Like the video
Oh, the
game?
gamer guy,
That's
yeah.
gamer guy.
Of
He was
course.
there.
The gamer legend.
Just people want to come and check this thing out. Apparently, it's the in thing to do. If you're a celebrity and you're in Palm Beach, you go to TGL.
I'm not gonna lie. It makes more sense to see Ninja there than it does Sam Darnold. I don't know. It's just
Really?
one of those guys.
Listen, I thought I saw Sam Darnold there. I never heard anyone announce his name or anything. I witnessed him with my own two eyes.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it.
I'm still looking it up.
And of course, we spoke with Niall Horan
Yes.
a couple weeks ago.
Mike Trout.
Mike Trout was there. Everyone wants to come.
Yeah.
The
It makes sense.
Bassomatic fight. What's that fish that used to sing? Remember the wall fish? You remember that guy? The singing bass?
Here
He
we
was
go.
there?
Here we go with this. Here we go with
Singing bass was there?
No.
You don't know this?
I don't.
No? Okay.
I don't.
I've gone into another 80s reference and it's just not
yeah,
working
yeah.
for me.
Not born during that.
Oh,
time.
nope. I can't confirm. Josh Allen crew included Sam Darnold, Dalton Kincaid, Christian Kirk, and others.
Do I lie? Have I ever lied to you guys?
Probably.
I was not calling you a
You
liar.
I wish we could reverse this tape in real life. When you said that the Panthers had like 8.7 million in cap space, you
No,
lied.
that was we
No, you
worked
lied.
that through. We
You
were
lied.
working
Oh, it's
that
just
through.
misled.
Yeah. I didn't realize that when I
Fake
went
news.
to grab
This
my
is fake
coffee
news
that
all
they had-
over again.
I grabbed a coffee and they had already spent more money.
There you
That's
go.
what happened
But
there. Yeah.
before we get into this soundbite from Tiger Woods, I think you mentioned how Josh Allen and the guys got to test out the simulator after.
Yeah.
I think I've preached it and I'll preach it again. The next step for TGL is to make this stuff accessible to fans,
Yeah.
to the audience.
Yeah, this will be the future.
When there's
Yeah.
an off season,
Yeah.
I think there's no better way to put that to use than to let people rent it out and use it and have parties there or whatever.
There's a
whatever
fine
you
line.
do.
I mean,
Dude, like,
yeah, it's expensive.
you could make some, TGL could make some bank on that. Like
sure.
$5,000, I don't know, what, like $5,000 for what, 2 hours? Like for the sim on the thing? Absolutely.
It won't be like Max Shepman and company going by there and like drinking beers and hitting into it though. It'll be like,
Unless I sneak onto the property.
yeah,
but,
well, unless you like make friends with like, you know, some real like Billy Joel on Jupiter
I
Island.
said what up to Ricky Fowler last time I was there. Gave him a little fist bump. What
Yeah.
up, Rick?
That's the way to get invited. Exactly. But I think it'll be like it'll be a who you know type. It's not going to be wide open to the public at any point
Yeah.
because it's you know, I think ESPN and Tiger and Rory have a lot invested in this equipment. But
Next thing you know, oh my God! Like imagine me like just out on the little like patch of grass. I'm like just chunking grass pallets all over the damn
it
place.
is so gonna happen.
Yes.
You're gonna take a selfie of yourself.
We need to have a media challenge off. You know what? I'm challenging all the local stations in this market. I don't give a damn. We will beat you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Let's put that out there. Let's put that out there
Yeah.
into the stratosphere of nothingness.
Nothingness.
Echo.
Come on, man. I'm putting our odds at like minus 2,500 on the Hard
Wow.
Rock
You
app.
know,
minus
you know
25.
I'm on
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
team. You
We're-
know I'm on
we're
your
a
team.
plug.
Right?
What would our team name be?
Oof.
Could be what's right behind us.
The best Florida sports podcast, golf club.
Yeah, okay.
We'll
okay.
work
I see
on
what
it.
you're saying. I see what you're saying.
We'll work on it. We'll work on it. Tiger, though, the crazy part is Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy, the two co-founders of this league. Rory is part of Boston Common. Tiger is on the Jupiter Lynx team. Neither of them they're the only two teams who didn't make the playoffs. So they're not in the playoffs, the two. But Tiger still, after the Jupiter loss to Atlanta, was beaming with pride about year one with the regular season now wrapped up.
As the overall big picture of this, we're trying to grow the game into different demographics, and I think we have. This indoor simulation here is, I think, has brought more youth to the game, and the fact that we're able to play on ESPN and during prime time, you know, we don't get a chance to do that very often. And we had some like late matches, once are at 9 to 11. So the fact that we're able to golf at those times, because we don't really have that with our daylight schedule, to be able to do that and grow the game and showcase it, and showcase these guys. I mean, these guys have bought into the concept, bought into the clubs, the teams that they play for, and then you see how the teamwork on each team, right? How the players communicate. They're really enjoying it, and I hope everyone who's watching, I've watched every match that I wasn't playing in, and it was neat to see. I mean, these are the guys that I know. These are the personalities that I've seen on tour. But I think the fans are able to see them in a different way.
Guys, how about the Mangonia Mashers? That's what we could be, because
The
we're
Mangonia Mashers Golf Club.
We're
I like that.
situated in Mangonia
Park, you got
yeah,
it.
the
Okay.
Mangonia Mashers.
Golf,
liking that?
golf club. I like that.
The West Palm winners.
Yeah, come
That's-
on, Sam. Be
That's-
better.
That's a little third grade-ish. Wait, do you got one, Max?
I like the Mangonia Park Mashers.
The Riviera.
I feel like there should be like a West Palm, maybe like even West Palm, but like, I don't know. Not the winners.
Wranglers.
This is like the Utah Hockey Club trying to find their name.
yeah.
Instead of Manglers, Wranglers. West Palm Wranglers.
Oh, the
West
West Palm
Palm-
little country vibe, right?
I like that.
Yeah,
But
we
that
get
means every time we play, we have to wear Wrangler jeans.
Wrangler, like really like
Oh,
too
God,
tight Wrangler
oh.
jeans.
I didn't
that-
say all that. I didn't say too tight.
What is
I
this?
was,
It's
I
like
was
leather
more,
pants.
I was more.
jean jackets. Like
I
you
was
gotta wear
more-
Wrangler jean jacket.
Oh God, yeah.
Leather
I was
pants.
more picturing like
Pure
the
denim.
the Brett Favre commercial where he's in his jeans. He's Wrangler, right, or is he Levi?
I thought
Brett
he was
Favre?
Wrangler.
Yeah, I think he's Wrangler. Like I imagine like Brett Favre, like some nice
Was it?
boots,
Yeah.
Wrangler jeans.
Then
like-
I bend over to pick up my ball and I get like my butt just rips and
It's like the
What are you-
SpongeBob
yeah, what are you,
episode all over
SpongeBob?
again.
yeah, I can picture it already. Well, TGL was, it's going to be great, the playoffs. I love covering it. And I think it's just going to get better next year. They'll make some rule changes. Cognizant Classic, it was so weird to be at the Cognizant Classic last week. You joined me out there. Well, you guys both did for one day at least.
That was our field trip.
Yeah, and it was weird. Like, oh, yeah, there's outdoor golf. I totally forgot. This exists,
In the
too.
same city.
Yeah, and I asked Ricky Fowler because he plays TGL, and you know, I asked him. I thought it was a pretty good question, and you know, because it takes so a while to get used to the indoor golf, and he's been playing so much of that. I asked him if, you know, it's almost a reverse thing now that you're back into the schedule, if you have to sort of, you know, tweak a few things back to playing outdoor golf, and he said actually no, it helps you. In fact, because there's no room for error when you're in these simulators. Like
Right.
So he almost finds himself hitting more straight, and it kind of rubbed off on him in a good way playing TGL. It didn't really show at the Cognizant Classic necessarily. I mean, he had a pretty good Cognizant Classic, right? He was right into Sunday.
He finished in the top 20.
I always expect the world of Ricky Fowler. I want him to win the darn thing. I witnessed him win it once. When was that? 2017?
17, I believe.
Yeah, so it's funny. You're right. He did have a pretty good Cognizant Classic, but I always expect him to be like right in the mix on Sunday, you know?
Yeah.
But
so him and another TGL player, Shane Lowry, both finished in the top 20.
Didn't get to see that hole-in-one from Shane. I'm mad. I'm pissed. I'm angry.
Yeah.
Shane Lowry,
Yeah.
no hole-in-one this week? Come
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
I know.
Did you play it?
Talk
on,
about high
did you play it on
standards.
Hard Rock Betting app? The hole-in-one? No?
No. We're taking a gambling break. March Madness is coming.
There you
I had
go.
to save money for that.
There you go. But another. I don't like to call them no names because that's kind of like disrespectful. But a more unknown name, Joe Highsmith.
Completely unknown. Like people did not. He did not have a great rookie year. I think he had 3 hole-in-ones though. Speaking of hole-in-ones, I think I saw somewhere that there was some type of record that he broke or tied for number of hole-in-ones in your rookie season. But that was the only good thing about his rookie season. Even he will tell you it was not
memorable.
He struggled, and he had been struggling, quite frankly, so far this year too. And
He had 3 hole-in-ones in a single season.
Wow.
keep fact-checking me,
A
man.
statistical anomaly that showcased both his remarkable skill and uncanny fortune.
See, this stuff's
No-
all
no
in my
modern-
head, and he looks it up and
That's what that. Hey,
puts it
listen,
out there.
that's what the producer table's all about, baby.
It's so crazy about this tournament and how these last year we saw Austin Eckroat win it, another name that's not really known, but last year Joe Highsmith missed the cut in the Classic. He goes from that to now a year later.
Never mind. The dude almost missed the cut this year.
This year.
He hit a birdie on 18
Yep.
to make the cut, becoming the first golfer in 9 years, PGA Tour golfer, to just make the cut on the last shot on Friday and actually go on to win the tournament.
Yeah.
A pair of 64s on the weekend.
Yeah,
No one has ever done that at the Classic.
He had two double bogeys in the second round.
Yeah.
Well,
But
what's crazy is like we talked to Todd Fleming about it. It's like, yo, this tournament could be your stepping stone for the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
How like you said, like a lot of unknown names out here winning the tournament. Next thing you know, Highsmith, yeah, he won the Cognizant Classic. Like, yeah.
The best thing that I love doing is because it happens so often. Sepp Straka. You mentioned
That was your pick to win?
Austin. No, it wasn't. But a month or so later,
I think it was. Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. Sepp Straka was. Oh, my pick to win this year.
Correct.
Yeah, no, it was. I thought you meant I called it the year he won.
No.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm thinking back to last week. It absolutely was. Oh my gosh, what a difference a
Time
week makes.
flies when you're having fun.
But we always go to the Masters 5 weeks later, 6 weeks later, whatever it is. And still very fresh on my mind is the Cognizant Classic and the new winner who we were introduced to. And I make sure I see when they're out on their practice rounds, I see them up on the board, because when you're in Augusta, you don't know, you just look up at the board and you just see whoever is out there at that point in time. And if I see, this time it'll be Joe Highsmith, and just to be able to go over and see them, like,
dap them up. What up, Joe?
But not only that, like, it's their first day at Augusta whenever I see them, and they've earned this.
Yeah.
And it's their moment, and they're like still wide-eyed, and they've just played their first practice round. And it's always a really cool interview. And I'm always like the only one interviewing them because, I just happen to have that vested
You have
interest
that connection,
in seeing
yeah.
them from the Cognizant. So I'm looking forward to seeing Joe Highsmith. He said that's the best part about it for him, is he's always dreamt of playing the Masters.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So let's go to the interview, actually. Speaking of Todd Fleming, I spoke to him moments after the trophy was given away, just assessing what we've experienced here, the vice president and executive director of the COG.
The cog.
We call it the COG?
The cog. The conch.
The COG?
Conch. Like the conch.
Just throw
Conch
to
shell?
Just throw to Todd.
Go to Todd.
We are here with Vice President and Executive Director of the Cognizant Classic, Todd Fleming. It's time to exhale. What a tournament.
Yeah, I think you said the appropriate word. I mean, there's 12 months worth of work that's gone into this to change everything that we've done on the course, but then to ultimately have that come to culmination today inside the ropes and have Joe do what he did, to come back by 4 and be our 2025 champion. I couldn't have predicted a better script.
So many crazy things from Thursday's 59. I'm trying to go through the Rolodex of all the amazing things that happened here, but who knew who was going to win here? Like, even an hour before this thing ended, and for him to just, again, we talked about it before, this is a name now who we kind of feel like we have some ownership of now. That's what's exciting.
That's exactly right. Austin last year and now Joe Highsmith this year. We did. But you look at the 59, you look at the alligator, you look at the comeback and things that he did this week, and you look at the lowest score in tournament history for us in back-to-back consecutive years. Mm-hmm. The Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beach has produced the stars, and Joe's obviously now one of those on the PGA Tour.
Exactly. And I know last year you walked around, you observed everything, and you made all the changes accordingly here this year. I know you were probably way busier this year, but definitely way busier. But what were some of the things that maybe early on you're like, you know what, maybe tweak this next year and this and that?
I think we'll continue to tweak all of the experiential stuff. We'll learn and listen to what our fan base has said, and we're going to solicit a lot of feedback. But I think you'll see some evolution again at the Bear Trap at hole number 17. We'll see some different things that kind of are actually inside the Bear Trap experience, as well as on the tee back. We're already started and well underway for 2026. But so we'll stay tuned. There'll be more to come. But I'm really, really happy with how pleasant people were out here, the weather that we got, and then ultimately how they spread out amongst the grounds and partook the tournament the way that they wanted to.
Yeah, it must make you so proud, like you're in a lot of meetings and office decisions and stuff like that, to walk around and just see everybody enjoying themselves. I mean, and seeing the community out here, that must have made you proud.
Well, that's why I do what I do, right? I mean, it's ultimately the smiles that you see. And again, today was Play Yellow, and we had obviously the children from Nicholas Children's Health System that were up here doing the pin flags and working with the caddies on 18. Yeah. We obviously had Family Day yesterday by TBC Corp, and Jack and Barbara showed up. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's ultimately why we do what we do within this tournament, to be a good community partner and give back where we can. We ran a couple different programs. Obviously, CHC being here on the green with us today kind of culminates what we're doing. But now it really kickstarts what do we do for the next 11 to 12 months to make sure that we make an impact. We're going to do that together. But we will be in the several, $6 to $7 million of charitable impact and charitable giving again in 2025.
And so the work begins for the Cognizant Classic 2026 edition. Maybe, take a couple days off. You get on me, okay?
No,
okay.
We have to start to tear this down tomorrow, and we got to start selling 2026.
Todd Fleming, thank you. We didn't take any days off either, guys, did we? We're still pounding away. The Cognizant Classic ended. On to the next.
That's it.
We've covered Panthers. We've covered TGL. Now
the Classic, and now
next week. What's already?
Free
that
agency.
Monday where you sometimes forget. You're like, oh, free agency officially starts Wednesday, and then Monday.
That little tampering period going
it's like
on.
An avalanche of decisions are already made on
Yep.
Monday, and the NFL insiders are working overtime.
Yeah.
Adam Schefter dropped in like Shefty bombs and,
Yep.
and all
That's
kinds
right.
of stuff.
That's
Oh,
right.
I hope there's a lot of Dolphins Shefty bombs on Monday. So we do know from a Dolphins perspective. I know lots happened just today as we're taping that would make you think, oh my gosh, the opportunities are endless for the Dolphins. The Dolphins will not be bringing back Javon Holland. Doesn't look like they didn't franchise tag him. He's going to go into free agency. Had an off 2024, the safety, but between him and Poyer, the safeties that the Dolphins, that was an impressive looking
Yes.
couple of safeties last year. So they're going to have to go safety shopping for
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a name for you.
Okay.
Chief safety, Justin Reed.
I
Free
had
agent.
that.
Solid.
I had that on my list,
Your list
wish
as well,
list that I
'cause
had written
they,
down.
They have a
It's like a little
serious
note to Santa Claus.
they have a serious cap issue.
I believe they're only 1.5 under the cap as we speak.
You're referring to
The Dolphins.
Okay, I'm referring to the Chiefs, who also have a serious cap issue
Got
and
it.
a lot of free agents. So they're going to need to still free up some more space. But here's some of the names.
I was gonna say I got a surprising name for you.
Okay.
Little local action.
Okay.
Martin County. How about a little Justin Simmons?
Oh, how
reunion?
awesome would that be, man?
Man.
Great guy and great player.
Still good safety. He did
Culture
well with Jesse
changer.
Bates. Absolutely.
Oh, man.
Culture changer. What do you think his price tag would be, Max Shepman?
I think Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel have a lot of quote unquote
Tinkering.
cap tinkering to do with before they make any
Yeah, they
offers
gotta-
out there.
And one of the things that they've already done so far, we learned just before we started taping the episode, is that Bradley Chubb restructured his contract, so it's going to free up more cap space, turn that $21 million into, or a portion of that $21 million, into incentives, play time, sacks, etc.
Solid. What a great guy. No one was hurting more than him last year, not even from a physical standpoint, but just not being able to come back and play. It was kind of all year we were wondering, is he gonna come back? Is he gonna come back? And blah, blah, blah. The year kept going on. There was no point for him to come back.
Yeah.
And so to have him in the mix still, I think is great from a leadership standpoint as well. But for him to step up and to restructure his contract to make sure that there's some winning vibes going on here at the end of that's huge.
Because what the Dolphins need to do this offseason cannot be anything like what they did last offseason. Last offseason was a sleep fest for the Dolphins. Lost a lot of big players. Didn't really do much to establish signing anybody long term.
But then signed all these hardcore extensions to Tua and Tyreek and McDaniel and kind of
Waddle.
beat
Well,
themselves in
again,
the
like a
corner.
lot
Yeah.
of the things is there's going to have to be a lot of cap restructuring here. I mean,
Yes.
looking at Justin Simmons, he signed an $8 million deal last year. You ain't fitting that under the cap right now.
No.
So, if you can't really get that cap situation figured out to try to go after a home run hitter like those guys, be prepared to plug and play some rookies in the front that you draft.
I've got a great way that they can free up this cap space, and that would be to
Is this a hot take incoming?
trade away Tyreek Hill.
Ah!
Trade him.
Are you being serious?
I am. I am
You
so
can't trade
serious.
Tyreek, dude. Like that
I-
dead cap.
I
hit
thought he already
alone.
said he's out of here. He's played his last game in Miami.
That's what he said. He said he's out of here, and then a
He
couple
did
weeks
the
later.
tweet. He did the tweet. He tweeted like, "Dolphin fans, this is gonna be my best year yet."
Yeah.
Listen,
right.
I was playing a video game the other night on Twitch, and I'm pretty sure Tyreek Hill made the announcement.
What is your Twitch name?
Notice he always makes all these crazy announcements on
Twitch?
Twitch.
On Twitch,
Like,
yeah, that's
with-
his most reliable source.
Well, I mean, do you go Do you go back to Tua and like, hey, we got to restructure your deal? Go to Tyreek, hey, we got to restructure your deal.
That's the thing. It's
Jalen
just-
Waddle, hey, dude,
The
we got to
worst
restructure your deal.
soundbite. The worst soundbite. If we could we do this? We gotta create. Maybe you could do this for me, Max. Create a new stinger heading into our free agency coverage next week, and the main part of it is Tua going, "Show me the money." I remember that day so well, and it just aged so bad.
I'll get our promotions team on it.
Yeah, looking up at the crowd and saying, "Show me the money." Oh my God, what a terrible look! Months later, when you look back at everything that happened,
I just think with Tyreek, he'd be the toughest person to go up and ask, hey, we need to restructure your contract. I don't see that working.
After the way he freaking ended the season?
Yeah, I just think the way that it ended, yeah, sure, he's rescinded those thoughts, but I just think it's time. You move on. He had a down year. He's still a guy that's in his prime. You could get rid of a lot of that money, get some draft picks.
And there's a lot of names that are available right now at wide receiver. I mean, you're
let's start
salivating off. Looking at that.
I am. Looking at this list, it's pretty insane. You've got Devontae Adams, free agent. Chris Godwin, free agent. Amari Cooper, Tyler Lockett.
It's my entire fantasy team.
Christian Kirk, Hollywood Brown, or you trade for DK Metcalf. There's options.
It would be. No fan would blame the Dolphins for making a major move like that, but can you really picture Chris Greer doing it?
Well, again, I have
Mike McDaniel too.
I have a spot track up, and the dead cap number of Tyreek Hill, $56,947,500. The Dolphins can't afford to have a dead cap of nearly $57 million.
He said he wants to go to a winner. He doesn't want to just be there.
Yeah, but
not that the Dolphins aren't going to be one, but in his own words, I can't just be out there. I mean, he really was a glorified decoy all season.
Yeah, I mean, it was
more than anything else.
Yeah.
So he was kind of speaking the truth in that way, but also doing it the wrong way in the public forum and saying he wanted out of Miami and all that stuff. But maybe there is a dancing partner here as well.
Excuse me, that's a release. I apologize.
Okay.
I apologize. Here we go. If we do a pre June 1st trade to $28 million dead cap.
Okay.
If you do it post June 1st, $12 million dead cap. So those are significantly lower than what I said. June 1st release would be a $56 million.
And we're
so I apologize.
Okay, release compared to trade.
Trade
is a $40+ million difference.
Correct. So a trade is nearly $29 million cap hit, which is still a lot.
Yes.
And then post June 1st, it goes down significantly to $12 million.
I just think, the more I think about it, though, I just feel like, bringing Greer and to another extent, Mike McDaniel back, giving them one more kick at the can, I would be so shocked to see them go in some other crazy direction. Like, I just feel like Greer wants to prove that this team that he's created so far, like this core, can do it and can be a winner by making the tweaks around that core. I still would be very surprised if they dealt Tyreek Hill. That's just me.
No, it's fair.
That's just me.
I trust me. I think it would be a stretch for it to happen, but it's more of what I think they should do.
Mm-hmm.
And even if they don't go out and sign a receiver after they were to, trade Tyreek, if they ever did it, there's still other positions that they need to fill. We already mentioned the safety position.
Offensive line.
You got to establish the offensive line.
Okay, but you guys, yes, Liam Eichenberg and Robert Jones, they
Isaiah Wynn.
Protection-wise, they weren't what you would want. They didn't help with the running game as much as they should have. But we haven't even brought up probably what the most valuable money will be spent on. Yeah, backup quarterback. A backup quarterback.
But I think the big question is, do you establish that in free agency or the draft?
Do you go out and try to draft a Jackson Dart?
No, they need a vet. They need a veteran. They need a guy like Marcus Mariota. Like they need like a
I don't know if they could afford
backup.
that. That's the thing.
I think that it's a big mistake if they don't have someone half decent backing up Tua Tagovailoa. That's the mistake they made last year.
I honestly think it's more likely that they draft a quarterback in the mid rounds.
But that doesn't solve the problem that they ran into last year.
Well, again, my thing is like, okay, like all this is going to be up to Chris Greer to figure out the damn cap situation.
Yeah.
And
Which he got himself into.
right. Well, again, it's one of those things where Chris
All
Greer,
NFL
Chris
execs
Greer
have to-
thought
yeah.
Chris Greer thought the window was open. It was not, depending on your view of it. And at some point you got to pay the consequences.
Yep.
And now you're facing the consequences of the Dolphins literally being right up against the cap. And sure, the salary cap is going up, but at this moment, man, you got a lot of holes to plug and not a lot of money to do it.
We saw Greer make some genius bargain moves last year, like Calais Campbell comes to mind.
Jonnu
and Jonnu Smith. So maybe there's some other.
But Campbell's a free agent.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do about that?
Right.
I mean,
And they don't really have a second reliable run blocking tight end that I'd like them to
Nope.
see.
I believe Durham Smythe is a free agent as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of holes. A lot
lot.
of holes for a little money that they have to play with.
We'll have lots to talk about. Next Wednesday when we do the podcast, it'll be
Yeah.
literally the beginning of free
The-
agency.
The gates are gonna just
Yeah.
pour open.
Can't
Tom
wait
Brady's
for that.
coming to play the Dolphins.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think he's just coming together in that Fox gig. I think.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
and partially owning the Raiders. I think he's got it all covered.
Yeah. Imagine he.
Plus his Fox salary.
Imagine he
Goodness.
partially owned the Raiders. He remained an analyst on Fox. They put him on games where the Dolphins weren't playing, but he also was the backup quarterback for the Dolphins. That'd be something else.
Yeah, like the emergency quarterback.
Yeah.
Like
Just
the
didn't suit
E-bug
up.
in hockey.
They put Miami on every Monday night game.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So he doesn't have to compensate it.
I could tell by the subjects and the nonsense that I'm bringing up that it's time to end this podcast.
It is
at
time.
this point in time.
It is time.
That's fair.
But
Yeah.
like John mentioned, there are a lot of exciting things to look forward to
Oh, yes.
next week. Free agency.
Tweet the pod.
Panthers will be a different team.
Tweet the pod. We want to hear. What do you
That's
guys
right.
think the deadline's going to do? What do you
That's
think
right.
the Dolphins are going to do free agency?
At Best FL Sports Pod.
You couldn't
across
think of a
everything.
more catchy,
No.
handle than that.
No.
Did you
so that
see
when you
the
see
struggle of us trying to figure out a damn golf team name?
Yeah, that.
How about-
Yeah.
MangoniaMashers.org. That could be the handle for the
.org.
don't have to
We're
put
linking them to a website.
I know. I think
It's like .gov.
who says you can't put a .org at the end of a Twitter handle?
Nah, that just it would throw people off. It would throw people off.
Elon's getting us out of X if we do that.
Yeah, great.
Get us out of this podcast.
Yes, thank you so much for watching. I can't do thumbs up anymore because these guys hate it. Next week, stay tuned.
Best Florida